Hey everybody, welcome back to another early morning and hopefully a fun presentation. In today's episode, I will be telling you all about my ideas on how to run a 911 system. So without further ado, I hope you all enjoy the PowerPoint. Let's jump right into it. So with any EMS service, most of them run, oopsie, where's my clicker? Most of them will run a 911 at some point. I don't know how fast I can get the 911 side up and fully operational, but whenever I do, this will give you some indication on what I plan to do. So some of it is fairly normal. 911 calls are all kind of the same everywhere, but there's also going to be special operations, high standards, for training, high professionalism standards. There will be a long FTO or checkoff process. But to put up with all of that, you'll get high pay, a great work schedule, built-in overtime, and what I call protective measures, um, either to leave early or, regarding call volume or something like that, which I'm pretty sure is at the end of this slide, so I'm not going to get into it now. When it comes to training, and all of our 911 folks are going to have excessive amounts of training on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Therefore, whenever an employee needs to be trained or retrained or gain some sort of experience, they will get a custom work schedule. They will get a custom class schedule due to the location of said class or whatever school they may be going to. They could be given a company vehicle to use. The students will bear no expenses. Therefore, the class fees, lab fees, testing fees, books, etc., will be covered by the department at 100%. Any travel-related expenses such as planes, trains, and automobiles, car rentals, and lodging will be covered at 100%. The employee themselves will be paid their daily hourly, or I mean their hourly rate. I should have changed that. That's a typo. Um, to attend the class, and training will be required for all employees to some degree eventually, almost no exceptions. So when it comes to 911, I'm a stickler for training, knowledge, and education. I've run so many calls with people who are freshly certified, but they have no experience, so I don't feel like they are qualified. And I always say that certified does not mean competent. Um, Therefore, all the 911 units, regardless of primary assignment, will be station-based, and with that, they will have downtime to complete my objectives, such as um, protocol review, call review slash QA slash, mentorship, tabletop scenarios, and frequent testing. I don't know exactly what frequent is going to mean at this point in time, but basically, employees are going to have to prove that they know what they know on a fairly regular basis to maintain employment. Review of enhanced assessment questions, techniques, tips, tricks, things of that nature. And of course, hands-on review of equipment, vehicle, or scenarios. So there's almost no limits as to what a training could be while you're at work. So here is a list of a list of additional certifications that my 911 providers are going to be required to have, regardless of initial licensure. So you could be a driver only, you could be an EMR or an EMT, and you are still going to have to get almost all of these at some point in order to be a released provider. And that is, advanced cardiac life support, PALS, or pairs, depending on whichever one I can get you into, PHTLS or ITLS, TCCC, EVOC Class 3 or higher, that'll be probably done in-house. That also encompasses CDL training for certain people. AMLS and bloodborne pathogens, that's what BBP is. And there's a few others. This is not an exclusive list. I mean, this is not a comprehensive list, but I am not going to accept providers that don't know what they're doing or that just want to show up and be lazy and collect a paycheck. The people who work for me and the people who take care of our citizens and our patients are going to be the best, and there's no way around it. So when it comes to the communication side of life, we're going to have call takers, dispatchers, right, as the primary people, and then you can communicate with them using radio, CAD messages, and there will be a unit assigned cell phone so that people do not have to give out their personal information. All right, so what is the command and control structure going to look like? Well, it's fairly simple. Every successful operation has a chain of command, and this is ours. So you have your generalized employee base. One step above that is your field training officers. Then you have lieutenants, captains, the chief of some sort of department or agent, such as, ugh, sorry. You have the chief of a specialty inside of EMS, chief of EMS, and then you have myself. Basic FTOs, this is also pretty much self-explanatory. They are the primary trainers of all new employees, whether that be full-time, part-time, ALS, BLS, non-medical, students, volunteers, it doesn't matter. So this rank of employees can be fairly common in the agency. They can self they can self FTOs can self-assign two calls for compliance or experience or some other checkoff requirement to get people in and out um, as fast as possible while maintaining the highest quality available. Obviously, they will complete a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of admin that's going to come with this role, and that's why that there is a pay rate, which I believe is included in this slide. Overtime is usually guaranteed and then come in on their extra days. So a full-time FTO is already a 48-hour work week, running a 24/72 rotation. They can come in and get two extra entire days if need be. Basically, FTOs are responsible to get people checked off as fast as possible without compromising quality. And in FTOs, obviously they have to be competent on all vehicle types, on all medical things that they're related to. In order to qualify as an FTO, you're gonna have to know a lot of policies and a lot of admin stuff as well. So the education component um, is fairly intense. And of course, this is available to absolutely everybody. EMR, driver only, EMR, EMTB, EMTA, paramedics, critical care medics as well. So this is a little bit new for people. Knox County doesn't run officer ranks on the EMS side, but essentially lieutenants are one step above the field training officers. And of course, as we go higher and higher, um, lieutenants can be FTOs if need be, and such as captains can do the lieutenant responsibilities and FTOs so that there's an overlapping of responsibility. And the way the lieutenant is going to operate is they're going to be assigned to a station per day. So that's, based on the rotation, each station is going to have 4 assigned lieutenants, one per day, one per shift. And basically, they're going to be responsible for unit compliance and compliance of all other kinds, such as daily training, uh, completion of paperwork, cleaning, and other housekeeping responsibilities, things like that. They're going to plan, coordinate, and conduct the daily and the weekly training, make sure those requirements are, what's the word? Compliant. They're going to enforce all the company policies, obviously. And they're going to make sure that each station is stocked according to policy. The policy I want to have is a 1 week delivery, but a 2 week stockpile, so that ambulances and other units never run out of anything. Therefore, they will also order supplies when things are running low, and they will solve the low-level problems, complaints, whether that be internal or external, and basically that means partner disputes or employee discrepancies or maybe one crew's not cleaning the units, and so that would be something the lieutenant needs to solve. And they'll, as well as hearing from patients, you lost my wallet, you lost my wheelchair, dealing with hospitals for us showing up late, or crew personalities, things like that. They will be running in an SUV or a pickup truck so that they can respond independently when needed, or to high acuity calls. There's a lot of admin, as you probably already guessed. So there's a lot of paperwork that they're going to have to approve. And they are going to be responsible for low-level staffing at the station level to make sure that all the units are filled, all the positions are compliant with the people that need them, and make sure no one goes out of service, basically. So lieutenants have a lot to do, but captains have a bit more to do. And a captain is some other phrases that you're probably familiar with. There's like a battalion chief or a district chief, something of that nature. And they will be assigned to supervise 3 to 6 stations, depending on how many stations we can put in the county and things like that. Basically, it'll all be done based on geography. They are the highest level field position, therefore, they have the final say in most high level decisions, or you could even call it a regional authority. But basically, they make sure everybody does their jobs who's below them. So that'll be employees, FTOs, and lieutenants. They will conduct all the disciplinary measures and investigations into, vehicle damage, people showing up late, employees not doing their jobs, things like that. They will ensure that the day, week, it's more like a weekly staffing. They will reassign members to other stations, partner swaps, basically long-term issues like vacations or disabilities, anything that would be outside of a daily staffing requirement would require a captain approval. If anybody does get hurt at work, they have to do a lot of paperwork. Again, more investigations and a lot of admin stuff, as I've mentioned. And of course, they will ensure that drug tests, background checks, um, certification, compliance, training requirements, things like that are also upheld. So division chiefs, these are going to be the smaller divisions with inside of the agency to ensure smooth operations. And just to give you some example, I'm sure there will be more. I'm sure this will change a little bit as the agency evolves. But you have to have a logistics and a supply coordination side, a generalized operations chief, so that'll include 911, both emergency and non-emergency, and convalescent. Basically anything that's a response vehicle falls under that. There will be a special operations command for bariatric response, disaster response, um, concerts, parades, large events, anything that could be a mass casualty, and just anything that doesn't fall into normal daily operations. There will be an emergency communication center. No, that should be of no surprise to anybody. There will be an administration manager or chief. I don't really know what I'm going to call them yet, but that'll cover all the HR, all the payroll, all the vacation, all of the uniforms, things like that. Training and education chief. Um, there will be, I want to create a training academy similar to fire academy style training, but they'll be in charge of scheduling, um, ensuring that different classes are at different dates, If they send people out of state, they coordinate all the travel and all the lodging, things like that. Anything related to training and education. Fleet maintenance, again, with no mechanics, you can't run several hundred vehicles successfully. So there will be a maintenance and mechanic side of life. And of course, this will all be subject to change. And then you have the chief of the agency who is responsible for all aspects of a single agency. So if everything goes to plan, and in 25 years from now, there should be 5 chiefs under Tennessee Public Safety Group. That'll be fire, EMS, rescue, security, and towing, and probably one other one that I haven't figured out yet. They will do most of the hiring and the firing and severe disciplinary issues. The chief of the agency is the final authority on, well, everything. Very independent overall position. Very administrative, highly administrative. Now they can add themselves to calls if they choose to, or if they're close enough, or if they want to ride on an ambulance for a day just to interact with the crews and maintain their competency. But this high of a position is administrative, and of course the job description is ever evolving. And then we move on to what my position is, and that's basically for responsible for absolutely everything. Um, and this would include operations and cooperation, coordination, protocol development, new supplies, new vehicles, all the financial stuff. Um, Everybody's going to have a budget to some degree, and I have to make sure all those numbers are are in compliance so that we don't go bankrupt. Create various new opportunities, new business, new contracts, new mutual aid agreements, whether that be local or non-local, such as maybe going to Kentucky, Georgia, Western Tennessee, Virginia, the Carolinas, things of that nature. Ensure and develop a positive reputation for the agencies that attend the trade shows, become a member of all the professional organizations, basically be a very well-known face at City Hall, things like that. And of course, just grow and expand and make sure all the agencies are successful. Let's see here. So I have the final say in absolutely everything. These are my companies, these are my ideas, so deal with it. And essentially anything that I choose. So on the 911 side, there's different call types, and then therefore the different ones are going to be assigned to different units. That should not be a surprise to anybody for the most part. So emergency is self-explanatory. There's nothing really crazy with that. These are high acuity calls, so it's anything cardiac, respiratory, major trauma, all the normal stuff you would call 911 for. Now, on the more routine side, non-violent psych calls, questionable calls such as, man down from a third party, man sleeping in a vehicle, um, things like that. Welfare checks, just the oddball stuff. And so a net unit is a non-emergency transport unit, or and that's the other side of the 911. So when it comes to emergencies, the call sign is just going to be ambulance and its number. For the non-emergency, it'll be net and its number. Most of the time, those will be paired up in a geographic area or at the same station so that the emergency crews can be available the most often and have the lowest call volume, ideally. We all know how call volume has exploded, but that's the general idea. When it comes to routine stuff, it can also be completed by a convalescent transport unit if they are close enough, if they are available, and if the call type is low enough acuity to where they are competent enough to do it. And this will be an ever evolving, ever changing thing, but the whole idea is to keep emergency crews available for emergencies as much as possible. And of course, all transport ambulances, regardless of primary assignment, are required to do 2 convalescent trips in a 24-hour period. That is dialysis, that is doctor's appointments, that is hospital discharges, These are your nursing home calls, discharge to homes, inter facilities that are routine and not critical, things like that. And that is so that we can pay the bills. That is non-negotiable. All ambulance crews will do this, or you won't work for me. All right. So what a medical unit is fairly self-explanatory. The 911 units will be stocked to the ALS level, if not the critical care level, if we have the money to do so. A 911 unit is going to be staffed primarily with EMTBs and EMTAs with those extra training certifications and that long FTO checkoff process I mentioned earlier so that they can be competent. We will have chase medics scattered throughout the city, probably 30 of them, ideally, in SUVs or pickup trucks for the highest acuity calls that require paramedics, such as severe trauma, cardiac, respiratory, oddball things, and such. So when you become an employee, um, you will work a 24/72 rotation that gives you 48 hours a week. However, I also allow employees to come in 1 hour early and be paid for it so that the off-coming crew can leave on time. So you can work up to 50 hours a week on a normal schedule. Part-timers will self-schedule, work when you work when you can, work when you want. 36 a month requirement, which apparently I didn't write in here. Flex units will take some of the burden off the 911 units. So that will be a variety of shifts during the highest call volume hours. So that could be anywhere from 6 to 16-hour shifts. And of course, all of your special events, your concerts, parade, um, sports, marathons, competitions, basically absolutely anything will be flexed or will be staffed using flex units so that we don't have to rely on the first due. But worst case scenario, first due transport units and a chase medic or two will be assigned based on what we predict the needs will be. We already hit this in another PowerPoint, but this gives you a general gist of how I'm going to pay everybody. You get paid for your medical certification, your experience, the additional certifications at the time of hire, a specialty unit assignment, any ranks you may have that I've mentioned in this particular PowerPoint. And of course, if I determine something needs an incentive bonus to gain an employee, I will do such. This was from another slide, so we're just going to glance at it for a second. All right, if you want more info, go watch the pay one. And then if you're following the algorithm, if you want some rank, add that in there too. Custom bonuses, these are just the things that not in a comprehensive list, but these are things that I'd be willing to do just to help everybody out. And then using my example, on a 48-hour work week, I would be making roughly 71.6 thousand a year. And of course, this is the math, and this is how it all breaks down using my own information. So crew protection, I wanted to kind of get to this, and in the video, I know the video is already long. Sorry, most sorta. We all know that EMS is abused. We all know that EMS agencies don't protect their people for the most part. Therefore, I don't have a holdover policy. Convalescent crews must be in the office/station 1 hour prior to the end of shift, and that is a non-negotiable. People can come in 1 hour early, therefore, whenever that unit is able to be transferred over, the crews can go home. It's my personal opinion that if you come to work and you work hard, you should be able to leave when you're expected to. Therefore, we have a call volume daily limit of 10 calls for every transport ambulance. Therefore, you go home early, you fill out some paperwork, and that'll give you your full pay and benefits according to your contract at the time of hire. Custom call call volume limits for specialty teams such as like long distance transfers, bariatric support, disasters, things of that nature. And there's something called a code green status. Basically, green means green go home. So dispatch supervisor can authorize a crew to leave early due to weather, distance, stress, fatigue, or some other reason. And now I don't know why I did this one. So basically, the only real difference is that you just have to fill out some paperwork, send it to your lieutenant online. They will sign it, and you will go home early. So there's no specific call type requirements to reach 10. So if you're a convalescent unit and you do a doctor's appointment, a dialysis run, 6 hospital discharges, and 2 911, a medical alarm, and a welfare check, that's it. You've just hit your 10. You fill out your paperwork that's signed by an officer, and then you go home. We will have a roster for people to volunteer to come in or be called back and get double pay so that whenever these units hit 10, we can use those relief crews to come in and fill the remainder of the shift, and that won't that won't mess up the daily staffing numbers um, for the agency. Alrighty, that was not supposed to happen. All right, everybody. So that was kind of strange, but that's technology for you. I'm going to fly through this. If you are curious what this part is, go watch the other videos, but this is not going to be very long at all. So how do you support my work? How do you let me know that you're interested in my ideas? It's very simple. Donations. This can be accomplished through Cash App or our website, and that's the unfortunate reality of trying to change everything. You just need money. All of the donations we receive will go on our website to celebrate our donors with. This is our website. You can go to the donate tab. This will be the screen. Follow the prompts at the bottom. If you would like a specific video made or something that I react to, which I'll be doing maybe next week, maybe the week after. I don't know what my work schedule looks like. But if you want a video, send me the URL, submit a $5 donation to keep the spammers away, and I will post that when I get as soon as I can. You can do super chats if whenever we start doing live streams, town halls, Q&As, things of that nature. If you submit a super chat of $20 or more, I will read it and answer it and interact with it live on the stream. If not, if it's a lesser amount, you'll be mentioned. I'll say thank you, something to that effect, and we'll move on. We have a Give, Send, Go campaign. Basically, just go to the website, search the name, look for the logo, and call it a day. This is coming soon. This is different benefits for citizens and visitors and things of the region. There will be discounts in here. This will be done by a third-party software that I can't afford, and that'll be coming soon. All of our social medias, which we'll get to in just a minute. We have a Rumble account. Go to Rumble, search the name, look for the logo, watch our videos. Same thing with YouTube. Search our name, look for the logo, watch our videos. We have a Facebook page. Search the name, look for the logo, become a follower. This will be a community I'm trying to grow at the moment. We have an Instagram. This is the parent company, Tennessee Public Safety Group. Search the name, look for the logos, join up. And of course, you can always email us. The email has been on your screen and it's on this one as well. And honestly, that is it. There's not a whole lot to say more to, wrap this up. I hope you found some of this fairly educational. Um, I can't wing this, and PowerPoint is just easiest for my brain to operate. So I hope you all had a good time. Sorry the video kind of ran long, but I'll be doing a video on convalescent operations probably tomorrow. because I have to go to work soon. Um, but if you would like to help support us, like, share, comment on this video, join our social medias, and that's pretty much it. I will see you on the next one. Thank you all for joining, and I hope you'll have a great and safe day.